The Curious Life of Jigyasu. Jigyasu has not let his secret out to anyone except to the dead body of his modeling agent. He has felt bad for lying to her on their first meeting. Hence, last summer, as she lay relaxed after a death that was too mundane to be described, he whispered to her, I am actually a man. He did not say transvestite because he was sure she would not understand its meaning. He hopes she rests in peace. Now the burden of Jigyasu's secret has grown so huge that he is afraid he will accidentally blurt it out to a stranger on the road. His nose has become red as though from constipation. So when he receives his first fan mail, Jigyasu lowers his shield without being aware of it. The mail is from Guni, an event manager from the same city, Kolkata. She congratulates him for featuring on the cover of the Citizen magazine's top 30 models above 30 release. She proclaims that she is his biggest fan and he replies to her. The mail exchanges turn into regular conversations. Over time, he grows affectionate towards her warm personality, which shows in her prose and how she interprets Faiz Ahmad Faiz couplets. Finally, he realizes that he has fallen in love with her. I have a secret, he writes one day, but I don't know if I should tell it to anyone. Set it free, she replies. If you don't feel good suppressing it anymore, say it out loud. Really? Yes, trust me. He knows that trust, as an embryo, takes its own time to develop, but still he can't hold it in anymore. He has to tell everyone his true identity. No, he will tell just Guni. And in the hope of softening the shock, he decides to propose to her as well. Although he knows the chances of finding love for a heterosexual transvestite in this country is even less than that for a homosexual transvestite, which is an absolute zero. But he has to try, because if he does not let her know, she can't refuse him, and he will not be able to move on with life without the solace of rejection. He has to find the right occasion. Are you coming to the Park Street fashion show? He writes. I am managing it. During the show, as Jigyasu sashays along the ramp walk, a thought emerges in his mind. Guni knows him as a female model, but in a way she does not know that he exists. The after show party starts. The strangeness of the situation doesn't elude Jigyasu. He is looking for a girl who does not know he exists or the story that has brought him here. He has no reasons to be discreet, but still he has to be careful. He stands near the doorway, surveying the golden banquet hall, half filled with refined bodies in saris and jackets and beautiful young women with straight hair who never make facial expressions. But they will soon. Any moment now. He steps in and all heads turn to her. Three women, all too old for their rouged cheeks, hop towards him. Soon a knot of floral perfumes and high heels gathered around him. They ooh and ah about his poses, even though jealousy twinkles in their eyes. Jigyasu suffocates like a celebrity behind the image he has constructed for himself. He can't tell them how scared he is that a production boy might enter his makeup room and spot him with an unhooked bra hanging from his plain chest one day. Out of confusion and curiosity, the boy might kick him in his testicles. Once the crowd dissolves away, a shy but intelligent looking woman approaches him. At once, Jigyasu knows that she must be Guni. She has retained glimpses of her childhood in her smile and in the movements of her fingers. She is not intimidatingly beautiful, but Jigyasu has never seen a woman with a more perfectly shaped pair of collarbones. They spread like eagle wings under golden skin. You where she starts. Let's go behind that pillar, Jigyasu says. Her rings clink against her wine glass. Jigyasu grabs her free hand as if this act makes his previous sentence seem less creepy and pulls her into the shadow of a pillar. He didn't know the washrooms were back here. You were excellent today, Guni says. Who designed this sari? You have to know something, he says. She raises her glass to his forehead. This lock falling over your forehead looks amazing. No one else has any idea about it. He tries to make his voice sound as masculine as possible. You can give that young Mira a run for her. Guni, I'm a man. The wineglass drops from her hand and lands on his cleavage. It stands erect there, supported by the thick cotton pads. Guni picks it up quickly. You are a what? Her eyes shuttle between the doors of the male toilet and the female toilet. My hair, it's a wig. He tries to suppress his following sentence, but because of all the commotion happening inside his stomach, it bursts out nonetheless. And I love you. He can tell she is stopping herself from looking at his navel. A man displaying his navel in public is disgusting. Guni adjusts the neckline of a salwar. A woman struts out of the washroom and looks around as if she achieved something great in there, which everyone else must go in and take notice of. You don't have to say anything. Jigyasu hopes Guni says something. You can just shake your head. Guni stays quiet. This was a bad idea, he shrugs. Please don't tell this to anyone. He begins to turn, but then stops as he hears a clatter of teeth. I, Guni says, I wanted to. He turns back to encourage her to finish her sentence. I love you too, she says. He then realizes that unexpected happiness and sudden sadness have one fundamental similarity, both originate from the back of your throat. The following month sees two sari-clad people in their 30s wandering down the roads of Esplanade, gorging on salted guavas. The foolish city thinks it is entirely normal. Jigyasu and Guni deposit themselves on the bus seats reserved for ladies and chat. Jigyasu tells her how he makes his eyes look sexy by chewing on chilies just before appearing on stage. Guni asks him unending questions. Do your parents know? When did you first find out that you like to wear earrings? In the airport for frisking, do you join the ladies' queue or the men's? Do you wear panties or briefs? He hastily douses her curiosity, then moves on to romantic talks because he likes to see her blush. At Victoria Memorial, they kiss and admire the buttery taste of each other's lipsticks. She gets annoyed when drivers of yellow taxis aim yellow grins at him. They now sit alongside each other in a Shehnaz beauty parlor, which looks like a house of mirror illusions. They are alone, waiting for their charcoal masks to dry up. The women at the parlor instruct them not to move their facial muscles, otherwise wrinkles would emerge on their skin. I have to tell you the truth, Guni says, barely moving her lips. Hmm? He keeps up a smile, hoping that the smile will stay permanently once the mask is lifted. Guni says, I don't truly love you. Jigyasu turns at her. He stops his eyebrows from buckling under the weight of the shock. I was not thinking straight, Guni mutters. Why? He starts, but then catches himself from opening his mouth too wide. Why did you do it? Ishan, she says, my son, he's 15. I don't understand. My husband divorced me when he found out that Ishan is a cross-dresser. Jigyasu's smile has forgotten to vanish. He waits for her to continue. I thought if you and I get married, Guni says, it'll be the best thing for Ishan. He'll have the father he can be free with. She keeps a plain face. I will completely understand if you walk away. He spreads his legs in his sari like only a man can. He feels icy fingers close around his heart and his crotch. The latter, he realizes, is because of the air conditioner. He can no longer look at her directly, so he stares at the reflection of her black face in the mirror. But her heart isn't black, he knows. I am a horrible person, Guni says. You are not a horrible person, but you have done a horrible thing to me. Is love the only reason to get married? Guni pleads. Jigyasu thinks of saying that at his age no other reason seems reasonable enough. But before he can speak, the parlor women come in. They position themselves beside their chairs, ready to take off their masks. I need time to decide, Jigyasu says. Guni looks hopeful. I'm sorry, she says. 1 week. We won't meet for a week? Guni asks. No, you will introduce me to Ishan tomorrow. I am so sorry. Jigyasu is grateful when the parlor woman starts to pull off his mask because now he can let tears leak out from his eyes. God, it hurts so much. Guni screams as her mask gets peeled off pitilessly by a burly woman. Ishan looks like a rebellious accident of nature. With plush black hair, cappuccino eyes, and a proud chin, he is the kind of person who grows up to become his own superhero. He is wearing a frock. He assumes an expression of curiosity that barely suppresses his excitement on seeing Jigyasu. Jigyasu starts with his favorite joke, not caring about the age of the listener. They say that cross dressing is a sickness, Jigyasu says, as if capitalism isn't. The boy does not get it, does not even pretend to. He chooses his first question from undoubtedly a thousand swirling inside his head. How do you shave your back? Jigyasu realizes then that Ishan genuinely needs someone like him in his life. When he is alone with Guni, Jigyasu lays out his thoughts. This week, all three of us will go out together everywhere. On Sunday, I will tell you if I really want to do this. Guni nods, attempting to hide the fact that she has no other option. But you know what will make the situation a whole lot easier for me? Jigyasu asks her. Guni smiles. She knows. I will try my best to fall in love with you. Truly? Mm-hmm. Jigyasu spends the first 2 days dispelling the myths that Ishan has gathered from the internet about transvestites. They discuss the need for more awareness of social and psychological bullying against people of their kind. They make plans to attend the next Chamaya Vilakku festival held in the Kottan Kulangara temple, Kerala, where thousands of men dress as women to please the goddess. Ishan recounts how scared he was when an angry eunuch chased him because he thought the boy was making fun of him. In this world, every heart suffers from the insecurity of being mocked. Jigyasu is amazed to see the courage in Ishan's walk, as if dressing up like a girl is the norm for every boy. On Wednesday, Jigyasu stops Ishan in front of Spencer's Chinar Park and tells him that he will prove the point he made the previous day. Oh, Ishan says excitedly, but you can't just replace your brass cotton stuffing with oranges. You have to pick up something else. Ha! Jigyasu looks at Guni. Children. Guni inspects a poster pretending not to hear. So Jigyasu goes into the supermarket to show that wearing a woman's dress is more convenient for shoplifting. However, he finds it more difficult than he imagined. He looks prettier than every lady in the store, and men keep stealing glances at her, thinking he is a lady all the time. In the end, he manages to pinch 2 bananas in the folds of his sari, but then he bumps into Hansika Mehra, a fashion designer friend. She decides to give him a tight hug. Jigyasu comes out and, with a disappointed face, shows the squashed bananas to Ishan. The boy bursts into laughter as his mother becomes interested in a mannequin, stifling a giggle. They spend the Thursday morning prank calling unknown numbers where they try to sound like men. Surprisingly, Guni ends up sounding manlier than the other two. Friday evening approaches. Ishan and Jigyasu sits on the Ganga bank at the Belur Mutt. What is your worst nightmare? Ishan asks Jigyasu. Getting slapped on the butts by men. One day a policeman actually did that to me. I was so surprised I couldn't even shout. I think all men should be made to dress up as women for a week, Ishan says. Then they will understand what women go through. What is your worst nightmare? Jigyasu asks. Waking up one day, Ishan says, and realizing that I don't want to wear girls' clothes anymore. Would that be bad? How would Superman feel if he wakes up one morning and learns that all his superpowers are gone and that he can't wear his costume anymore? You think this is a superpower? Ishan crooks his eyebrows as if the question is utterly absurd. Ishan, do you hate your father for deserting you? I have forgiven him. You are more confident when you forgive easily. That is one thing you can teach me, Jigyasu says. I sometimes feel so ashamed to go out like this, but I can't help it. Ishan places his head on Jigyasu's lap. You are beautiful, the boy says. Remember that. On Sunday afternoon, Jigyasu feels as though a book is about to finish. Or is it a chapter to be followed by another one? Jigyasu, Guni and Ishan are traveling in a tram which is meandering through the Malik Bazaar market. Here, the motherly smell of old Kolkata clings to the air. Beef shops hide behind shops selling chicken rolls. The road is crisscrossed with tram lines. Jigyasu sits between Ishan and Guni, who has been fidgety all day. Ishan's long hair is slipping through the fingers of the wind. Jigyasu remembers when he wanted to grow his hair long so that he could tie it in braids, but he abandoned the idea once his hair started thinning. Unfortunately for some men, the freedom to grow long hair and baldness come at the same age. I don't know what to say, Guni tells Jigyasu. You do, Jigyasu says. You don't know how to. Guni looks at Ishan, who is busy staring out of the window. Jigyasu holds her chin and softly turns her face to him. You still love your ex husband. I just can't. I was mad. A nervous smile appears on Guni's lips, but it goes away the next instant. Maybe all Ishan needs is a friend, not a father. He does not need anyone. Jigyasu knows that his first impression of the boy was wrong. He is more complete than you realize. Guni stays quiet, her lips stiff. What have you decided? She asks Jigyasu. He shifts his gaze out of the window and notices a hand-pulled rickshaw. The rickshaw puller is perhaps as old as Ishan. He is running furiously, mouth open in a sunshine grin. He is racing with the tram. The contest between human and machine. What have you decided? Guni repeats. The rickshaw puller wins the race. There is something reassuringly soothing about the wins of the underdogs, like the fourth smallest planet in the solar system being the only one capable of supporting life.